We'll have the two wise men back with me for an early look at the Investec Derby. Of course, takes place on June the 1st. Nick Watts, Graham Rodway. Great to see you again, gentlemen. Now, Dawn Approach, best price of 5-4, Nick, to land the Guineas and the Derby double. Does that interest you?
No, not the prices. You probably get something broadly similar on the day, I'd imagine. It does revolve around him. He's won the best trial for the race, the 2,000 Guineas. Well, has been the best trial for the race in recent years. See the stars. Obviously, Camelot won it last year. Sir Percy came from it. It all boils down to whether he's going to stay and what view you take about whether he does or not. I actually think he will. Breeding suggests he might struggle to do it, but his running style suggests that he will do it.
Sire did it.
Yeah, exactly. His sire did it, and there's not much stamina on the dam side, but there was a similar horse a couple of years ago, Kate Blanco, who had no stamina at all on the female side, had Galileo as the sire, and he managed to stay middle distances, no problem at all. I think his running style suggests he's going to get it. If he does get it, he's going to take a huge amount of beating, but would I take the price now? No, I wouldn't, because it's already short. And I'm sure RPTV viewers want us to come up with something a bit better than that, so I'm not going to put him up now.
And Graham, 5-4 make any appeal to you?
Well, he hacked up in the Guineas, didn't he? Didn't think it was the best Guineas in the world, and I thought his main danger, Toronado, ruined his race by pulling a bit hard early and then was a bit below form. The value of the form, I think, is open to question. However, you can't knock the way he won the Guineas. I think he'll probably stay a mile and a half. However, I don't know if there's ever been a Derby, well, I'm sure there probably hasn't, that made its debut on the first day of the turf season as a 2-year-old and then went on to win a Derby. But you could have said that about the Guineas, and Jim Bolger managed to pull off that feat, so who's to say he won't do it in the Derby. But 5-4 is a short price. Don't get me wrong, if he was 3-1, I'd be all over him, but not 5-4.
Okay, then we'll briefly looking through the rest of the field. It seems quite an open field to the remainder of the runners if you take Dawn Approach out of it. The Ballydoyle yard would appear to have Battle of Marengo, at least on prices, as their main option. Graham, would you view it that way?
No, I don't fancy Battle of Marengo at all. I don't think he's very good, actually.
Right.
I wasn't impressed with his win last time out into Derringstown. I thought he made really hard work of landing short odds, beating Loch Garman, albeit he was won a Group 1, but it was a poor Group 1 that Loch Garman won last year. I wasn't impressed with Battle of Marengo first time out either. And I just don't like the horse at all. He looks slow to me. I think he's a 1 6 furlong St Leger type.
So who do you think is their best hope?
I don't like any of them. Ruler of the World is another one who looks slow to me. Can't have that.
Magician doesn't look slow.
Magician, I really like Magician as a
horse.
horse.
He's going to France apparently.
But as I understand it, he won't run. He'll go to France and then they're looking at the Eclipse. Nevis, massive price, looks slow. Mars, 14-1, ran well in the Guineas, but as I've said before, I didn't think it was a very good Guineas. He did well, finished 6th really on only his second outing, and he's been up there in the markets for the Derby for a long time, and he would definitely stay, you would say, on pedigree.
But you're not convinced the winner's going for Maiden O'Brien?
It was a poor Guineas, and usually when O'Brien wins the Derby, he has the one standout candidate, and he's coming in, mob-handed here because he hasn't got a decent horse.
Okay, so we're putting a line through those then. Nick, one of the horses that has been talked up quite substantially is Telescope. We've hardly seen him at all. We're relying on racecourse gallops almost as our clues, but I mean the market, just as soon as he gets pushed out a point, it keeps getting gobbled back up. There's obviously some strength behind what potentially is a very classy colt.
Yeah, I don't like horses like this, though, really, to be honest with you. I mean, Stout has done it before. I think Golan was a very lightly raced horse, and he was second in the Derby, and I think he won the Guineas after very, very few starts. But generally, it's not done very often, isn't it? And I prefer to see racecourse evidence rather than words from gallops and that kind of thing. So he's not for me, especially at the price. I mean, he's 6-7-1. So
that was my point.
You're not getting much for your money, are you, for a horse that you very, very rarely see? So no, not really.
Yeah, but what I've heard is that his gallops are pretty spectacular, and that he has been absolutely hacking over older handicappers by 15, 20, 30 lengths even on the gallops at St Michael Stouts. The problem, as I understand it, is that he doesn't like being loaded onto the horse box, and they're having trouble every time they try and transport him. Hence, he had a little knock last week, which forced him to Mr. Dante. And the rumours are that they were trying to load him onto the horse box, and he just caught himself, and that's what just held him up. So it was only a little knock, and he does seem to have come back, done a good gallop since. However, whether you want to take 7-1 about him winning the Derby, when he's probably only about 2 to 1 for them to get him on the horse box.
You'd rather see him line up at 4 to 1 and back him, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, I'll be interested to see if they can get him to Lingfield for this prep race, prep gallop that he's going to have. But I mean, I'm sure Stout will get it all sorted come the day. But apparently he's got a huge amount of talent. But I would back him at 7 to 1, given he seems like he's got a bit of a problem with the horse boxes.
Okay, well, yeah, the fear of horse boxes could strike then. Right, so we're not going to England, we're not going to Ireland, Nick, but we are going to France for your Epsom Derby winner.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think they've got two really interesting horses, and they ran against each other last time out in the Prix Greffol, which was a race Paul Moir won before he came over and won it. And there wasn't much between them, half a length, I think. Okavango won that comfortably. Now, he's been declared for Epsom. Farber says he's an intended runner, which is good news. As you've seen his price come in slightly of late, so he's now about the 9 to 1 mark. But yeah, very interested in him. He's progressed from run to run as he stepped up in trip to 1 mile 2. Looked very good last time.
A lot of stamina in the pedigree.
Stamina in the pedigree, but not as much stamina in the pedigree as Bravo Dino. There's a massive discrepancy in their prices here. He was second in the Griffel, beaten half a length. He's as big as 40 to 1, which is crazy, I think, because this is a horse, I think I'm right in saying, I'm no breeding guru, but he's a 3 parts brother to Chris Kinn, who's already won the Derby, of course, a few years ago. So you'd say that he'd handle the track, you'd say he'd stay very well, and he hasn't got much to find with Okavango on their pre-Griffel running. The reason why he's 40 to 1, I'm pretty sure this is the case, is that his trainer, Jonathan Pease, who is actually English but trains in France, very, very, very seldom runs horses in this country. Had Bago, of course, a few years ago, who won the Arc and ran over here several times. I don't think he's had a runner in this country for about 6 years. So he really doesn't come over very often for whatever reason. I don't know. If he's watching this, then Jonathan, please bring Bravo Dino over, because I think he'd have a decent chance. You know, breeding, his running style, the fact that he's got good form with Okavango, he should be bringing him over and running him, because Dawn Approacher side is very open.
Okay, so your tips basically would be Okavango, Bravo Dino,
the French duo. But
French duo,
because of doubts around Bravo Dino coming over, I'm putting up Okavango because we definitely know he's coming. But I do like Bravo Dino at the prices, definitely.
Okay, excellent stuff. Now, Graham, there's no size in Europe around.
Yeah.
You're actually going to agree with Nicholas Watts.
Completely agree with Watsy. Yeah, the 2 French runners are the value in the race, definitely. The race last time, they both ran in Saint-Cloud. Okavango, it was a muddling little race, right? Okavango dictated the gallop and stayed on nicely when challenged
really, wasn't he?
by Bravo Dino in the closing stages. That was over 1 mile and 2 furlongs. However, Bravo Dino is bred to improve hugely for a step up to 1.5 miles, which is why I think the trainer Jonathan Pease will run here instead of running in the French Derby over 1 mile and 2. And I don't think that Bravo Dino would have been suited at all by the way that 1 mile 2 furlong race at St Cloud was run. Being a horse that is laden with stamina in the pedigree.
He wants to strongly run 1.5 miles.
Yeah, I mean, at a muddling gallop over 1 mile and 2 furlongs, he did amazingly well to get within, I think, half a length of the winner. So if he gets a strongly run 1.5 miles, I would really fancy Bravo Dino to reverse the form with Okavango. And yeah, he's 4 times the price, so more than 4 times the price, Bravo Dino. So I'm more than happy to back him at 40 to 1. Albeit he might not turn up, but 40 to 1 is factored in the price.
Okay, well, vive la France. We're all off to eat steak tartare and croissants. Is Okavango and is Bravo Dino v the field for my gentleman on the right.